widening gyre is how best to describe the political turmoil in River States, South Nigeria. In the latest show of more cracks in the states of affairs, the factional speaker of the state's House of Assembly, Martin Ameule, accused Governor Similai Fubara of planning to demolish the quarters of the lawmakers. This was after the governor paid an unscheduled visit to the premises. Ameule described the visit as purely political and an invasion, noting that the governor's visit was a flagrant violation of the law. The lawmakers have urged President Bola Tinubu to wade into the matter to avoid an escalation. Dairu, it's getting so ridiculous. And I think I have a story to back up this story.
Governor Fubara and 27 lawmakers have been on a war path that has seen both groups challenging each other's legitimacy and political leanings. He took a detour from his program for the day to make an unscheduled appearance in the House of Assembly residence. This is where the 27 lawmakers have been sitting since the Assembly Legislative Complex was demolished last December. It is being speculated that this is not a friendly visit, but one that was prompted by the signs that lawmakers could be planning another impeachment attempt.
It's Assembly, not part of my property. Is there anything wrong in going to check how things are going on there? You're aware of the development. We have a new speaker. And I went there to see for myself what things are, because there might be a few things I might want to do there for the good of our people.
In a swift reaction, the lawmakers and their supporters arrived. They accused governor of breaking into the premises in an attempt to intimidate them.
I am the speaker. Of course, I was elected by the people, and members are sitting and should not be disturbed. But every day we listen and read to media reports of some people who were suspended on the 30th of October, purporting to be principal officers of the House. They were duly suspended by the rules of the House. They are already in courts. If they have issues with their suspension, they have already approached the courts. The court has not given any judgment to the contrary.
The lawmakers rejected the emergence of a factional speaker and insist that they remain members of the House of Assembly, despite their defection to the All Progressives Congress.
They should tell the governor that members are not afraid. He can come with all the military personnel, he can come with all the police officers. We will sit when we need to sit. Anytime we have adjourned the House, when it is time to sit, we will sit, because we have the mandate of the people to sit. Governor has no power over the legislature. The legislature is a creation of the Constitution, and he will be ashamed because he has nothing that he can do to stop us. All those fanning the embers of war in River State will be put to shame.
Security agencies have deployed additional personnel to the House of Assembly quarters as the state waits with bated breath for what the next move of the warring camps would be. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
So, Diary, what's going on in the mind of Governor Fubara?
It's very difficult, if not even frustrating, for analysts like us to make sense of the nonsense going on in River State. It's unfortunate, really. I said it because 25 years after democracy in Nigeria, we've seen this kind of back and forth and drama, happen across the states of the Federation. So we are taught that by now, lessons would have been learned from earlier experiences. But unfortunately, what we have in Rivers is an unfolding tragedy of errors. No, it's not comic, it's not funny at all. It's a tragedy, really, with implications for our constitutional democracy and rule of law. And let me state this clearly. You see, in the ongoing tragedy of errors in River State, there are no saints and there are no heroes, because I see people taking sides with either of the factions in the tussle for power, for the soil and the control of the resources of River State, as though you have victims and villains. No, they are all members of a congregation of current-day sinners. So there are no heroes, there are no saints in this fight. So we need to look at the issues objectively. As clearly stated by the Speaker of the House of Assembly, the governor has no control, has no power to bully the House of Assembly.
So separate arm of government.
Separate arm of government. It should matter what, we may not like the face or the voice of Governor Wike. But when we also see some of the tendencies some of us had complained about Governor Wike at the beginning of this crisis, we see those tendencies also being exhibited by Governor Fubara. We have a duty to say,
yes,
you cannot overrun our democracy because of a fight with. There are better ways. As a sitting governor, with all the advantages of incumbency available at your disposal, there are far better ways to overcome Wike in this puzzle without
using brute force,
without compromising constitutionality, without undermining rule of law. There are so many ways. For me, it is almost a year into administration. How come you're not able to win over members of this assembly without having to resort to subterfuge? One of the ways governors triumph over their opponents is they have what it takes to win over anybody in the state.
They have the war chest.
They have the war chest. Wike became Wike because he was governor of Rivers. Today, Fubara are the governor of Rivers State. Do they need fool? It's not only when we hear that you have whisperings of impeachment that you are called, you are rose to action.
Yes.
The first one was to demolish the House of Assembly. The next one is you are expecting the assembly quarters.
Houses.
You are looking for
see how beautiful those houses are.
Or defects.
Eh? There are no defects here. So, how do you talk about defects for this house?
Really gaining that notoriety as a demolition man, and it's not supposed to be so. So it is difficult to make sense out of this situation. But my greatest worry that in the entire Rivers political landscape, we've not seen leaders that are able to rise above the pettiness of partisanship.
No.
To speak to the issues, to call these two gentlemen and knock their heads to sense to say, what are you doing? Everybody has taken sides.
Yes.
In the entire Rivers
That's
State.
the problem.
And it's a problem.
That's the problem.
Jude,
what do we say of the the lawmakers, three of them, are the three numbers, going to government house to go and sit, and that one is not parading himself as speaker. How can you say the legislators are suspending 27 other members?
Again, I blame Governor Fubara, and I'm thoroughly disappointed in him. Some of the actions that he has taken in the last few days and weeks shock me as a person, because I used to think that, look, this is someone completely different to Wike. Remember those programs, those editions of Journalist Hangout that we had, where I said, look, you son Wike, you are the older person. If we are to resolve this matter, it is you, the older person, that will calm down. The Yorubas will say, Agbamangbani. You understand? Agbamangbani is one way of saying, look, the older person calms down and allows things to simmer down. But we saw Wike constantly granting interviews, and every opportunity he will abuse a man who was not answering him. And I said, you cannot...
You had the sympathy of the people that...
Yes, you know, I said, look, I mean, you cannot continue along this path. This guy is not responding to you, but every opportunity you will call the media, sit in front of about 4 persons, and you will be attacking a man who was not attacking you, who was not abusing you. I felt that was wrong at that time. And it was because I was looking at Fubara's body language, that in spite of all that, I was just taking everything on the chin. Probably he had a strategy. What I thought he could eventually do was what Majid said earlier. Because we've seen other governors do it. Bring the enemy to their side. It is not by demolishing people's habitations that you can actually get them to support you. No. You do not have the control, the support of the assembly members. You don't have that of the local government chairman. You don't want to conduct election. You rather, because you knew that your own people will not win the election. You don't have the structures. Now, what you want to do is simply to appoint caretaker committee, and those guys knew that that was where you are headed, and they do not want to allow you to do that. Now, going to their assembly quarters, that was a new low for me, for the governor. That was a new low. You came through the back, you got into their premises, you said perhaps you came to see whether there could be some things needing your attention. Oh, what kind? That's terrorism. Because if you are intimidating them, that is terror. You intimidated them, so intimidating them, intimidating their children. That's terror. What do you want to demolish? I've seen those buildings. I've not seen an assembly quarters in our country that is as beautiful as that. It was built by Wike. So what have you seen that you want to demolish? Are you such a wasteful person that your supporters bombed an assembly complex, but it didn't really affect a sizable portion of the complex? You then came with bulldozers because you thought ignorantly that by demolishing the place, they will not have anywhere to sit. What the law says is that they must sit within the state. It didn't say they can't sit elsewhere. And once they have the mace, they conduct their business. It's not like some people wanted to remove Peter Obi that time and they went to Asaba. Of course, it was null and void at the end of the day. You must sit within the state. So now you demolish the place. They are now meeting inside their quarters. You are still going there, sending a signal that you want to demolish the place. And then look at the executive order saying the assembly should come and sit inside government house. Ayo, this is ridiculous. That is no matter how we feel about this matter, there's separation of power. Why should the assembly come and sit inside government house? Who does that? Who does that? Because you felt that, okay, those guys, you want to deny them where they sit. Fubara is clearly not getting it right. I know that there are some people in our country, this is the way we are. We don't mind if the rule falls on everybody, just because we have taken side. For me, I will sit here, criticize Wike as much as I've done in the past. I've criticized much more than I've criticized Fubara. And when Fubara begins to do those things that are meaningless, that make absolutely no sense, I will also criticize him. I do not see why you should be using 3 persons. You want to use 3 persons
against,
to run the house. 3 persons. No, it makes no sense. And if you are saying those guys, I hear people say, oh, those guys have automatically lost their seats because they defected.
Is that the pronouncement of the court of law?
See, it's just like saying, oh, because the law says if you take a life, you too must die. Therefore, once somebody kills a person, you just take him and slaughter him. No, they still must go through the court process. The courts have not fully decided. If you know, and they have different conflicting court cases here and there. You heard what the clerk of the house said. The clerk said he does not recognize the new so-called leadership. And the clerk also said that those 3 guys had been suspended, and it is true. And I'm not aware, they also went to court over their suspension. I'm not aware that it has been set aside. So, if you say those guys are wrong, you cannot also say that those 3 guys, if you say that those Martin, Ameuli and others are wrong, you can't also say that these 2 persons are right. All of them and what they are doing in Rivers State, we can see clearly that something is wrong. Unfortunately, they do not appear to have elders who can call these 2 gladiators who are eating up the politics to a meeting and say, okay, gentlemen, we've solved this problem. Yes, they are waiting for the president. Why must the president intervene? Why? Once the president intervene in everything, this is a Rivers matter. Don't they have elders? This is a PDP matter. Don't they have mechanism for resolving conflict within the PDP? I mean, it's wrong.
I have Ibrahim from Kaduna State. Thank you for joining us, Ibrahim.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Yeah. Welcome.
Good afternoon,
Ibrahim.
On your house.
Go ahead, Ibrahim.
Yeah, I just want to contribute on this issue of Rivers State. I don't know why PDP as a political party, they are unable to resolve this crisis. They only want the party, the individuals involved, that's like the gladiators. They are just fighting for their selfish interests. This fight is not because of anybody, not because of the river people. The citizens of the state are suffering from this fight. So at least the party should call these two gentlemen to order. I don't know if maybe both of them are bigger than PDP. That's why none of them will be called to order, because they've been doing, each and every one of them has been taking decisions that they feel is all right, which is only the state that is facing the consequences, because governance has been stopped. I don't even know what this governor has done for the past he's getting to 1 year in office. I don't know what he will even show in his first 1 year in office. He's just fighting with the UK fighting back, the legislatures fighting. Please, they should be the elders of the state should.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much.
Time fast spent. At the end of the day,
and
ultimately,
there is an injunction against the governor, banning him from interfering in the affairs of
it's naturally.
yes.
Charlie,
You know, the case came up last year. I have the particulars of the case. And it's not been set aside. You are told don't interfere. Yet you want to decide where they sit. You want to go and harass them in their houses. I mean, I don't understand.
Ultimately, the people of Rivers State will have everything to lose.
Of course.
Because it's a year now. People will be celebrating achievements, celebrating projects, rolling out projects and everything. But I don't think of
celebrating quarrel.
Yeah. The problem has not.
This is brewing in Rivers. And at the end of the day, God forbid anyway, the only intervention that can happen now will be for the National Assembly to actually take over the functions of the House of Assembly of Rivers, in line with constitutional powers to do so. When a state assembly can no longer function as it is now, the National Assembly will have no choice. And when that happens,
they do not agree that they are not functional.
Then when that happens, the Rivers people would have had people that are not elected by them making laws for them. So the elders would have to call the governor to say, look, deploy political acumen, political skills to do what others have done.
If he has it.
Yeah, he can acquire it, he can consult. As a sitting governor, you don't need to go through this route to assert your leadership in the state. We saw it in Borno, between Governor Kashif and his predecessor then, Alimodu Sheriff.
Yes.
Assemblies were not demolished. There was no abrasive action taken. But he skillfully asserted his own authority.
Even in Gombe.
In Gombe.
We saw it.
And when Zulum became governor, because Kashim understands the power of a governor, he submitted himself willingly to the leadership of Zulum.
Because in my leader.
And Zulum himself also showed appreciation and gratitude for both somebody who helped him to become governor and the same person who has not given him trouble. This is the lesson they need for Wike and Fubara to learn. Today, Zulum is governor, Kashim is vice president. The way it's going, this crisis can pull down both Wike and Fubara and the state in tow. So why can't they resolve this matter amicably once and for all? I mean, even among things that should be honored. Yes. So taking sides by the people of Rivers is not the issue now.
It's not the solution.
It's not the solution.
It's not the solution.
Fubara was a member of this establishment. Wike campaigned for Fubara throughout to make him governor. Yes, once you make somebody governor, you have to sit back and allow the person to use his church mind in Nigerian parlance to show you gratitude. But if the person refuses to show you gratitude, the only thing is you learn a lesson or two from what has happened in the past and plot your comeback within the next
Make sure you don't make that mistake.
Exactly. In that cycle of election, that is where we have always blamed Wike for not understanding that, look, this was now governor. You have to allow him the extent to which he wants to appreciate you.
You know, I was saying that in one of those episodes of our program, I said, see, you have to realize that I've made this mistake.
Yes.
There's nothing. He admitted today that he has made
finally, just admit it.
He admitted that. When you admit that you made a mistake, your choice was wrong, your judgment was suspect,
yes.
Then you have to pull back.
Take a step back.
Pull back and then strategize. Let us see how he wants to get a second term.
Again, it happened in Zamfara with Mahmoud Ashinkafi.
Yes.
And Ahmed Yarima.
Yes. He went to the PDP.
Yes.
He didn't get a second term. You know, he married Babangida's daughter and went to the PDP.
Back.
He didn't get a second term. They showed him that, look, the mainstream
is AMPP.
Yes. He didn't come back.
He didn't come back.
There have been other examples that when Oji Uzokalo wanted to come back to the PDP after his quarrel with Ochendo Global,
Yes.
Theodore Oji made sure that he couldn't come back. That same thing that he did was what Kashim Shettima did when Alimodo Sheriff tried to come back to the APC. They blocked him at the level of registration at the ward level. He could not, nobody registered him. Because you are in charge, you are the governor.
Yes.
There are ways by which, as a governor, you can exercise your tigritude.
Exactly.
Show your tigritude. Not necessarily by demolishing,
No, you don't have to do that.
wasting government
You're
property
wasting-
and intimidating people, moving with a swagger, you know, that we didn't see some months back.
Yes.
One thing that our people must realize as we round up today is, in this kind of matters, let's apportion blame where we should apportion it. Believing that even if a Fubara does something extremely bad, that we must back him, is the problem that we have in our country. We will never align with one another on the truth. The truth is always the greatest casualty when we have this kind of problems. Because there are people who will back this person. Whatever the other person does is not their problem. This is the person that they are backing. That is what is happening. And even old people in rivers who should have the presence of mind to sit down and say, look, how do we solve this problem?
To be independent.
They are not independent. They've decided to take side. And to those who say, look, Godfather, look, once you have, once somebody has emerged, you leave him alone.
It's like an investment.
What is painful to people? No, I'm not. That's not even where I'm going. You must show gratitude. Once you don't show gratitude, in our culture, we don't like people who do not show gratitude. If someone gives you money and the next day you do not even say thank you for yesterday, you begin to see him as somebody that you should not help again. That is the wicked too is human. If somebody turns against him, just like the SGF, if someone turns against it within just a few months, he cannot be excited about it. Just the same way that the man in Gombe, Danjuma Goje, cannot be excited that the governor turned against him. But by nature, people love power.
Yes.
And once a governor sees him say, oh, I'm the governor, this whole money, I'm the chief accounting officer of the state, this whole money, I'm sitting on all of this money, they start seeing themselves in a different light to that man who was coming to you to beg before the election. Somebody told me about a governor who came on an Okada. As soon as he became governor, he started fighting the man that he came to see on an Okada. That is life. But once you know that you have made a mistake in terms of your choice, then you have to pull back.
You have to pull back.
And just let peace reign.
Wait for 3 years.
Yes, wait. He has to soon be here now.
You have the position to remain relevant.
The structure is there, everything is
and
there.
you're doing well as an FCT minister.
Of course,
Be patient
of course.
and play your politics right. It's as simple as that.
All right. I want to thank you, Dairo Majid. I want to thank you, journalist Hangout on Sunday. Thank you for your time. And the maestro himself, Babajide Kolade Otoju. Thank you. Hope we'll be able to dish it out again during the week.
We'll try our best.
Yeah. And that's our offering on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30 p.m. Well, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Ozuba. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.